On this episode of Old Joe's Reminiscence, when Devon is injured in an accident, can Garth and Rachel find the medical help he requires? Stephen Young guest stars. The Astro-Medics episode of the Starlost originally aired on December 1st, 1973. The deeper we get into the series, the more I find that I don't remember seeing them at all. I might have missed this one. If you haven't seen the episode, I'm going to recommend that you do so now, because if we spoil it, you may feel sick, and we'll have to call the Astro-Medics. The episode opens with Garth snooping around outside of Sonic Chamber number 4. Curious, he inserts his key in the access thingy and opens the door. Once inside, he's deafened by the sounds emanating from the device. My first thought was, why would they create such a chamber? But then I decided that it was probably designed to place an item inside and to get out before activating it. But then, how did it get activated? I'm very surprised that William Osler didn't announce some sort of warning.
What is it?
My head's going around.
Garth was able to withstand the sonic torture for much longer than Devon, who is unconscious within seconds. Who else is thinking that this is one of the ship's computers getting back at Devon for destroying Magnus?
Give me your key. Help me.
Keep the iris open, I'll get it.
There's something that I've noticed in the past, but I haven't brought it up until now. The sounds that we hear, such as the clunking noises of them pulling Devon out of the chamber and onto the floor, they're generally raw sounds that their microphones must pick up. There must have been very little Foley added in post, other than to insert door noises, etc. Not that it makes a lot of difference, it's just an observation that struck me on this episode.
We've got to get medical help for him.
From where?
I don't know, one of the biospheres. There's got to be someone.
She decides to talk to the host, and I'm thinking a lot of good that's gonna do.
Can I be of assistance?
Yes, Devon's hurt. We need medical help, please.
Message will be relayed to authorized personnel.
We cut to a shot of a spacecraft that's a redress of the Pisces model. They've received an emergency call from the Sonic sector, and they're going to dock with the Ark. So have they been out there alongside the Ark the whole time? The captain is played by Bill Kemp in his final screen role. The astrogator steering the ship is David Mann, who first appeared on screen in 1972 and continued performing in minor roles until 1998. The woman going on this mission is Dr. Jean. She's played by Canadian actress Meg Hogarth. Dr. Chris is played by our special guest star, Stephen Young.
Stephen Young was born Stephen Levy on May 19, 1939 in Toronto. Stephen had signed with the Cleveland Indians, but he injured a knee playing hockey, putting an end to a professional baseball career. He was given a small part in the 1963 film Cleopatra while traveling in Europe. That led to more small parts, and he decided to make acting his career of choice when he returned to Canada. He was in Patton and Soylent Green in the early 70s. Stephen Young played scores of parts on films and in television before retiring about a decade ago.
Dr. Martin, the man being left behind, is portrayed by another Canadian, Bud Knapp, who was an actor and popular documentary narrator.
Please, you've got to help him.
The vital signs are down 3.78. Let's get him up.
Treatment center established. Where are you going to take him?
Medical module 7.
Where's that in the arc?
It's not in the arc. What happened here?
If I hadn't gone poking in that chamber, Devon would never have gotten hurt.
Sonic debilitator is supposed to destroy microorganisms, not people.
Destroy? He was only in there a short time.
Well, that's all it takes. Come on, let's see if anything can be done for him.
Garth, is it?
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Jean Pelletier. I think you better come along. That girl's going to need you.
After what I did to Devon, Rachel won't want me anywhere around.
Who got him out?
I did.
Then you may have saved his life.
I had to replay that scene several times because I was puzzled. How did she know Garth's name? It wasn't mentioned at any time during the previous scene at all. We cut to the medical ship. Dr. Martin is about to perform a procedure when the younger Dr. Chris comes in and says that he'd like to do it himself. I guess it's not often that either of them gets to do anything, being on a medical ship that's tagging alongside the Ark with no crew, right?
How bad is it?
We won't know for sure until all the figures are codified. Chris will tell us soon. Try not to worry.
He looks so pale.
He's had an enormous shock to his system.
How do you know that?
I have some knowledge of the figures.
Anything yet?
Momentarily. I'm expecting some motor damage, possibly labyrinthitis.
If you have nothing better to do, Martin, I suggest you monitor the communications console. We do have other patients.
Who is that old man?
That's Dr. Martin Trask, one of the medical biosphere's most eminent neurosurgeons.
When Rachel asked, "Who's that old man?" I was astounded. The actor was only in his 50s, and he's not what I'd consider old. "You young whippersnapper!" In fact, I'm in my mid-60s, and I don't actually consider myself old, even though I've titled my YouTube channel Old Joe's Reminiscence.
Come on, we'll talk in my office. Chris doesn't like people diagnosing over his shoulder. You heard how he spoke to his father.
Dun, dun, dun! I don't know what they're leading up to, but I'm guessing the payout won't live up to the amount of drama they're implying here.
Extensive cell damage, labyrinthitis, postural sense damage. The respiratory control is still good. Motor damage is mostly on the left side. All right, I tell you what, put him on EM resuscitation unit, full motor facilities. If his EMR reaches level 3000, I want him prepped immediately for surgical procedure 7003. Although I doubt whether he'll recover to operational level.
Dr. Chris has his doubts about Devon's chances for recovery. Were they considering writing him out? They'd save a lot of money if they got rid of movie star Keir Delay. But, on second thought, I imagine he had a steadfast contract for at least one season, or so many episodes anyway.
There are 5 medical modules like this one that orbit the Ark, ready to answer emergency calls in the biosphere. Originally, there were many more, but they were either destroyed or knocked out of the Ark's orbit at the time of the disaster.
Then you know about the accident?
The destruction, the Ark's collision course, everything. We know, but there's nothing we can do.
There are supposedly 5 of these medical modules orbiting the Ark. I wonder why nobody noticed them before, like when they were aboard the Pisces, or why the team didn't respond when the alien Oro crashed his spacecraft into the Ark.
But if you have a crew that can navigate this module, why couldn't they replot the Ark's course?
The Ark is much more sophisticated than this. It would take specialized knowledge of those computers. The codes, the CTRs, propulsion data. More knowledge than any of our people have.
What's it all been for? Devon's nearly dead. Rachel's half out of her mind with worry. Me.
What about you, Garth?
Nothing.
You know, you've got to stop blaming yourself.
Who else can I blame? Devon?
Garth, you know and I know that Devon wouldn't blame you for what happened. You've got to be strong because it may be all left up to us.
Dr. Chris comes in. He's a real Debbie Downer. He spouts off a bunch of mumbo-jumbo, to which Rachel responds,
What does all that mean?
I'm going to give it to you straight. There's a very slim chance that I can save your friend's life. There's even a chance that he could be normal, but it's more likely he'll be a helpless paralytic. I'm sorry.
There's another medical emergency. This time it's an alien spacecraft calling for medical aid. Dr. Martin is apprehensive, but Dr. Chris is hyped for an opportunity to treat an alien species. The alien notes that the Ark is on a collision course. Yeah, we know.
If medical aid forthcoming may be of assistance to you.
We can get to them, sir. The problem is, can we get back again?
Act 2 begins with Garth and Rachel wondering when someone's going to do something to help Devon.
When are they going to do something for him?
I don't know.
Have you eaten anything?
No, I can't. I want to stay here.
Let me get you some food.
Garth, leave me alone. Haven't you done enough?
Whoa, that was pretty cruel. The elder Dr. Trask comes in to check on Devon. Rachel wants him to operate, but he says he's not up to it. Only Chris can do it, but he's too busy with the aliens.
It's not fair. Devon could be the one to save the whole Ark. We should be doing everything we can to help him.
Well, it's my understanding that the aliens might be able to help us as well.
Dr. Jean goes to talk with Chris, and I could have sworn that the music in the background was a knockoff of Nadia's theme from The Young and the Restless.
And what about Devon? Doesn't he deserve your best efforts too?
Yeah, if he had a chance for survival, but you know that he doesn't.
That's not what your father thinks.
Now, don't you go throwing Martin up to me. He's had his share of mistakes.
We all have, including you. But it's just possible that Devon can be saved if you help him now.
No. That is impossible.
There must be some history between these two, I'm guessing. When she leaves the room and there's an announcement over the PA about Medical Module 7, I was thinking, if there are 5 of these orbiting medical modules remaining, why can't one of the other 4 go to save the aliens while young Chris operates on Devon? Garth shows up at the bridge. He looks miffed. Based on the music swell, I thought that was going to be the end of Act 2. But then they cut to the alien's distorted image on the viewer.
Situation worsening. Please advise.
Have you got those new readings for me?
We have them.
All right, give them to me and I'll be able to help you.
We cut back to Devon. Rachel's snoozing on the chair, and she sleeps through him having some sort of a seizure until he rolls off the table and onto the floor.
Devon. Somebody please help me, please.
And the uncredited assistant comes in to help Devon back onto the bed. Has that guy had any lines yet? Doctors Martin and Jean come in.
No, don't do that.
Martin, he needs it to live.
He needs that operation to live. That's what I'm going to give him.
Dr. Martin says that he's going to give Devon the operation he needs to live. We cut back to Garth. He's asking all kinds of questions about the operation of the ship. Now, at first, I thought he was trying to learn how to navigate the Ark. That is, until they started talking about the abort button.
If there were a miscalculation and it were necessary to stop, what would you do?
To stop?
Yeah, everything? Well, there's an abort switch there. Now, that would put us into a drift until we refired reactors. Astro, anything new read this item? What have you done? I've stopped the ship, Captain. You fool! You've endangered all of us. Now get away from there.
That ship has some very impressive inertial dampers. There wasn't even a camera shake when Garth hit the abort button. The captain explains in no uncertain terms that Garth has doomed their mission. And possibly the Ark, if the aliens decide to retaliate.
Our scanner indicates you are drifting. Repeat, you are drifting.
The captain explains their accidental abort. Unfortunately, they may not have enough fuel to complete the mission after recalculating a course. I have some questions. How are they able to constantly orbit the Ark if fuel is such a concern? Do they dock to refuel, and does the Ark have an unlimited fuel supply? I thought the ships used some sort of nuclear reactors. It is what it is, I guess.
Captain, what's happening? Why have we stopped?
The man Garth aborted the mission.
Well, get this ship moving. Those people need us.
Negative. We are unable to resume command of medical module.
Well, what are you talking about?
Garth has commandeered the control console. He says he refuses to relinquish it unless you agree to operate on his friend.
Now, Devon is comfortable. He's in no pain, and he's going to stay that way until the end. Now, Garth, do you understand? Devon is going to die. There's nothing that we can do for him.
We're back in Act 3, and Dr. Chris reiterates that Devon is gonna die, and there's nothing they can do for him.
Garth, listen to me. Devon is going to be operated on by Dr. Trask.
But he just said...
Dr. Martin Trask. And contrary to what Chris says, his father is anything but senile. Martin Trask was chief of service in the medical biosphere. He gave up a very comfortable life to join the Astro-Medics, and he brought Chris along as his assistant.
Garth, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jean is right. My father is the best that there is. Now, can we please do something about getting this module going?
Garth leaves the bridge with Dr. Jean, and she tries to psychoanalyze his feelings of guilt.
Look, let me tell you something about guilt. It can eat you up alive. I know, I've seen the effects. Literally as bad in a psychodynamic sense as your friend's condition.
As Dr. Martin is beginning to work on Devon, Dr. Chris enters the operating theater.
Oh, Chris. I suppose you've come to take over now?
Chris is there to eat humble pie. It seems that he needs help diagnosing the aliens' problem. They call a truce. Chris will do the operation if Martin diagnoses the aliens.
All right, give me those readouts that you've isolated. Oh, no, wait a second. I'll just take over where Dr. Trask left off. I'm sure that his data is exact.
There's no use in giving that unnamed extra a speaking role at this point. Dr. Jean calls over the intercom wishing Chris good luck. And I immediately thought of that repeated scene in the movie Airplane I'm sure you know the one where Leslie Nielsen keeps opening the cockpit door to wish Ted Stryker good luck.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
The bridge crew spots the alien spacecraft just as they're about to give up all hope. The music sting here also reminds me of Airplane.
Look!
While Doc Martin discusses anatomy with the alien, his son is diligently working on Devon.
Isolated and marked, ready for SA input.
Internal carotid artery. Lateral hypophyseal vein. What is it? What is it? Humanoid in most respects, but with small differences. The key has to be in those differences.
We are back with Dr. Chris as we open Act 4. He's pointing what reminded me of an outdoor hose nozzle at Devon's head and spouting mumbo-jumbo to the mute assistant in the background. Chris then holds a red strobe light to Devon's head. We cut to the bridge. The captain is a bit cranky and callous to the ship's astrogator.
What's the situation re the Ark?
Not good, Captain.
I know it's not good, man. Just give me the time allotment. I'll make my own judgments.
94 minutes before the window closes, sir.
94 minutes. Means that if we don't depart for the Ark, within that time, we might just as well not bother.
Maybe it's warranted. They might not make it back to the Ark. They can't plot a course because they don't even know where the Ark might be by now, which I find to be rather nonsensical. Even as far back as World War II, American submarines had something called a TDC, short for Target Data Computer. The TDC kept track of an object by predicting its course. And before that, they used a circular slide rule known as an is-was. If the Ark is truly drifting, then it should be very simple to extrapolate from its previous position. Back to the operation.
There's correction in the lamina quadrigemina. There's not much room to play around in this area. Now, this should take.
Why is it taking so long?
It's a delicate procedure, Rachel.
Dr. Jean shares with Garth that if Devon does survive, he'll likely have some physical or mental impairments.
Garth, I think you should be prepared for the possibility that Devon might not be the same again. He might be paralyzed, or his mind might be like that of a child's.
Rachel calls out saying, "It's over." Now, how does she know that? The doc's still holding those strobe light thingies in his hands.
Chris?
He's alive. All of his body functions read out normal at the moment, but we don't know yet if the reprogrammed cells will maintain constancy or there'll be variables. We'll know when he wakes up.
Only time will tell. Back to Dr. Martin. He's still trying to figure out the nature of the alien virus.
Commander, I'm trying to establish the exact nature of the virus and the areas affected. I cannot prescribe definite treatment until I'm sure.
Meanwhile, Devon has a slight fever, but he's otherwise doing okay.
Thank you.
Well, don't thank me yet. Any luck, Martin?
Luck. If exactitude doesn't work, that's all we'll have left to count on. How's your patient?
I mean, our patient, fine. He's holding his own. His temperature's a little high, but I'm sure it'll come down soon.
When Dr. Chris mentions that Devon's temperature is a little high, it triggers a thought for Dr. Martin.
Temperature?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It seems that the alien species is reptilian, cold-blooded. Their temperature on their ship is too high. Meanwhile, Devon seems to be back to his normal self.
You're looking a bit brighter, Devon.
Well, I'm still feeling a bit numb, but otherwise I'm all right.
Oh, the numbness will wear off soon. I just thought you'd like to know that Chris and Martin may have solved the aliens' problem.
Then we can go back to the Ark?
I don't know. The bridge is working on the problem, but I won't fool you. Our chances are very slim.
I was hoping they might have done something about his anger issues at the least. Only time will tell. But time is something they don't have enough of. They might not be able to rendezvous with the Ark. And from the look on Devon's face, I can imagine that he is going to come up with an answer to their problem.
We wish to report treatment appears to have alleviated condition. Noticeable and rapid recovery rates in all but extreme cases.
Then he asks to speak to the captain. The alien has, up until now, only appeared as a distortion, as if the convergence was out of sync on their monitor. Here he appears as clear as day.
Indications are you are still within window to rejoin your ship. It suggests immediate departure.
He is Michael Zenon, born in Ukraine. His parents moved to Canada following World War II. He started acting on screen in 1959, and he went on to be an assistant director on many Canadian films. He died just last year at the age of 88.
Do you wish coordinates?
Commander, can you give them to us?
We have plotted your course since first contact.
He can transfer the course parameters directly into their ship's computers.
We regret time does not allow for additional aid, recourse alteration for a ship arc. Suggests problem we dealt with priority status. Else Earthship arc. Destruction inevitable. Goodbye, Captain.
Then we're given a demonstration of just how boring and time-consuming space travel can be. We follow their journey back in what seems like real time, and they finally reach the Ark. Then they all get together at the end for a little friendly banter until there's another emergency call.
Emergency, emergency, biosphere M23.
Well, that's us.
There's a different feel to this episode. Even the music was different. It's as if it was being presented as a potential spin-off series, where the Astro-Medics would have a show of their own, and they'd set out on a different mission each week. Or maybe they were toying with an idea for a second season, if the show had better ratings and was renewed. I think I might have watched that. I was a bit put off by the animosity at the beginning of the episode, but after things got going, it wasn't too bad. This episode had two characters who appeared but had no dialogue. They aren't even on the list of cast and crew, either credited or uncredited. There was the man who sat next to the captain just pushing buttons all the time, and the aforementioned medical assistant. They typically list them as uncredited, but there's no mention at all. Well, that's it for this one. I'm very happy to see so many people watching and anticipating these reviews. My wife isn't into sci-fi at all, and she refuses to be in the room when I'm watching these, so taking notes and sharing my thoughts here is akin to watching with a friend. That's the reason I'm doing this. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment, and make sure to join me again as I continue to reminisce about the Starlost.